I'll never forget the sound of it, metal crunching against metal, followed by the sharp, shrill voice of the one person I dreaded seeing during harvest season, Karen, the self-proclaimed president of our neighborhood HOA. That morning, the sun was just rising over my cornfields, spilling gold across acres of hard work that had taken me months of sweat and long nights. I was exhausted, but there's a pride in watching the harvest come together. My old green tractor had been chugging along faithfully all week, hauling corn from the field to the bins. It wasn't flashy, but it was the heartbeat of the operation. Then came her. I heard tires screeching on the gravel road, way too fast for a neighborhood lane that runs right next to the farm entrance. My stomach sank, and sure enough, Karen's shiny silver SUV whipped around the corner. She was glaring, her oversized sunglasses reflecting the rising sun like a pair of bug eyes. I slowed the tractor, waved her to pass safely. But instead of waiting, she floored it. What happened next felt like it was in slow motion. She cut too close, clipped the tractor's rear axle, and the side of her SUV crumpled with a sickening crunch. Corn dust flew, my tractor jolted, and I grabbed the wheel to keep from toppling into the ditch. Before I could even check if she was okay, Karen jumped out of the car, screaming at me like I had just totaled her Lexus. "You farmers think you own this neighborhood. This monstrosity of a machine doesn't belong here," she screeched, pointing at my tractor like it was a tank rolling through suburbia. My blood boiled. This wasn't just any vehicle. This tractor had been my father's, and before that, my grandfather's. It was more than equipment, it was family history. And she had just hit it because she couldn't wait 30 seconds. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Karen, you drove into me. You saw me out here. The whole road is clear except for this lane." But she smirked. That smirk. "I'll tell the HOA this is unsafe. I'll make sure this thing never blocks our street again." That's when something inside me snapped. She wasn't just threatening me, she was threatening my livelihood, my family's legacy. And the best part, her car was sitting there, mangled, blocking half the road. So I made one phone call, to the sheriff's department. When the deputy arrived, Karen tried her usual theatrics, waving her hands, playing the victim, even throwing in a fake limp for sympathy. But the deputy just raised an eyebrow, looked at the skid marks, and then at my tractor, still perfectly within the lane. "Ma'am," he said firmly, "you crossed into his vehicle. You're at fault." Her face turned beet red. But this tractor. It shouldn't even be here." The deputy glanced at me, then back at her. "Ma'am, this is farmland. He's well within his rights to operate here. You're lucky you didn't hurt yourself worse." And then came the moment I'll never forget. He pulled out his radio and called in a tow. Karen's jaw dropped. "You can't tow my car. Do you know who I am?" The deputy didn't even flinch. "Yes, ma'am, and right now, you're someone obstructing traffic and refusing to move a wrecked vehicle." I stood there, arms crossed, as the tow truck pulled up. The driver looked at me, gave the faintest grin, and hooked up her shiny Lexus like it was nothing more than scrap metal. Karen screamed, begged, threatened lawsuits, even shouted that she would take this all the way to the governor. But it didn't matter. The sight of her car being dragged away, her pride and joy squealing on the winch, was better than any harvest I'd ever had. As the tow truck rumbled off, Karen stood there in her heels, covered in corn dust, shaking with rage. I climbed back onto my tractor, tipped my cap, and drove back into the field. The harvest went on, the corn was gathered, and that night, I slept like a king. Because for once, justice had rolled through, just like my tractor.